UFC middleweight Sean Strickland has accused Israel Adesanya of lying about steroid use after predicting a future meeting between the two. Over the course of the last 12 months, Sean Strickland has emerged as a real contender in the middleweight division. In February 2022, he'll attempt to take the next step forward in his career when he goes head-to-head with fellow top 15 fighter Jack Hermansson. If he's able to win that bout, Strickland plans on eventually hunting down Israel Adesanya. Adesanya has enjoyed great success at 185 pounds, but arguably his most controversial moment came after his triumph over Paulo Costa last year. In the wake of the victory, Adesanya was accused of having gynecomastia due to notable swelling on his right pectoral muscle. This would seemingly indicate that Adesanya was coming off a cycle of steroids, which, understandably, Adesanya and his coach outright rejected as a claim. Sean Strickland, however, isn't quite so sure they were telling the truth. He said the following: "I'm one of the hardest training fighters in the UFC, and I'll do everything I can to get to a title shot. And if it happens, let's fucking go, Izzy. I'm ready. Make sure to cycle off, though. I don't want to bring you a bra if you don't hit the right cycle. He's a great fighter, but have you ever seen a fighter with gynecomastia for any other reason than that? Besides him, have you ever seen a fighter in the UFC that smokes weed that gets gynecomastia? You can't, because it doesn't happen unless you cycle wrong. That's a fact. We all know it. But regardless of the fact, Izzy's a great fighter. We know that. That's the fight I want." During a recent episode of the Weighing In podcast, Big John McCarthy reacted to the UFC 269 commentary team referring to Amanda Nunes as the greatest female MMA fighter of all time. He had the following to say: "The commentating teams throughout MMA, and especially in the UFC, seem to use the word GOAT with everybody, and they've made it to where the fans actually buy into it and believe it. As soon as a guy becomes champion, they'll start saying, 'This fighter is the greatest of all time.' It's just not true. Remember when they were saying Tyron Woodley was the greatest welterweight of all time? Are you fucking kidding me? There was a guy named George St. Pierre before him that was way better in every aspect that you looked at. Just the way it is. But still, they put out that Tyron was the greatest. Now it's Usman is the greatest of all time. And when he leaves, whoever takes his place, I guarantee they'll be saying the next guy is the greatest of all time. It's used too much. There's no need for it." UFC star Nate Diaz will reportedly be sticking around after having his current contract extended by Dana White & Company. That news comes from MMA journalist Ariel Helwani, who reported the following news via a post on his Substack page. "Sounds like the UFC is moving on from Khamzat Chimaev vs. Nate Diaz fight, and, as a result, have extended Diaz's contract. I think they knew that would happen, and were hoping to buy time for when Conor McGregor is ready to return later this year. Diaz hasn't signed any new deal yet, so that, too, is a fascinating story to watch next year." Nate Diaz has not competed since suffering a unanimous decision loss to Leon Edwards at June's UFC 263 event. Diaz was recently offered a fight with rising star Chimaev, but quickly shot down the idea of fighting a rookie during a recent interview with TMZ Sports. Sean O'Malley is on a roll, but fans may not see him compete again until summer. According to the list of UFC 269 medical suspensions acquired by MixedMartialArts.com, O'Malley is one of 4 fighters who could be ineligible to compete until June pending clearance from a physician for potential injuries. In O'Malley's case, he is listed as requiring an X-ray and MRI on his right hand following his first-round TKO win over Julian Paiva this past Saturday. All 4 fighters competing in the evening's 2 title bouts, Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Amanda Nunes, and Juliana Pena, avoided serious injury and received only minimal suspensions that do not extend past January. UFC 269 took place at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas and was overseen by the Nevada Athletic Commission.